It was like in 2022 or whatever the Nashville bombing was, because that's the closest thing I can associate Kevin Spacey to.
Probably because of COVID and probably because of domestic terrorism.
Yes, but then he came back just on Christmas with Tucker Carlson, saying he's going to possibly run for president. I don't know.
You know, I wonder if my name was Tucker, like Tucker Carlson's name is Tucker, if I would tuck my genitalia between my legs. And then you know, because he also had a frozen food like empire that he inherited.
Tucker Carlson?
And so he's probably got a strange relationship with meat.
The guy, for me, when I look at him and I see a guy who likes getting tickled.
Back in the day, Kevin Spacey's was the model father figures. You remember American Beauties? Oh my God.
Yeah.
What was her name? Mia Farrow's.
The girl? Which one?
Well, there was Annette Bening. And she was fantastic.
The big-eyed girl.
Who was the daughter who had the big nipples?
That's the chick from Hocus Pocus.
Shit. She was the little girl from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Well, Dora Birch. She was underage when she filmed that scene.
Oh, my God. You know what?
In the pursuit of fame and autistic. She was.
Wait, what?
Her parents had to give her permission. I'm telling you, I read it on...
Wait, what?
I read it on IMDb.
Her parents gave permission to show her tits and she was underage?
Her brown
Okay,
nipples.
but my parents didn't give me permission to see underage tits. So, wait, isn't it like possession of child pornography? Wait, is that law? Does that only work like you can possess child pornography as long as the
state of California, and if it's for an Oscar bait movie, you can show your child's bare nipples.
Well, you hear that, folks out there? If you want to make child pornography, as long as you're consenting, it doesn't matter what you.
Of course, Kevin Spacey was involved, and that's the weird thing is that before 9/11s, we had a tranquil, idyllic sort of idea of who peoples were and what families were and values that people had and that made us America.
You knew you Kevin Spacey's.
Kevin Spacey gave us the space to believe in our best selves. And all this time, he was fucking little boys raw until they bled like, I don't know if that was proven. Goats being cut.
He definitely did, that one underage kid. So that's true. But we
the dead underage kid.
Fucking
the dead underage kid. Bobby, the dead underage kid.
Anthony Rapp, Rent,
it's all connected.
The Paramount Plus one that no one's watching?
Which came first, Broadway's or a global cabal of sex traffickings? Which came first, musical songs that told a story or people screaming and those songs needed to cover the screams?
I would say Cabal, because then the entertainment industry was just like, hey, we can make this easier. Look at these kids that their parents, like, it's like hey, we can already pick out which parents are willing to exploit their children.
Let's pick out exploitable talent who are willing to do whatever they can to please us, and we can make money off of that and use that money to then fund what our true desires are, which are satanic rituals involving sex magics, involving youth and
you had me.
You know what I'm saying?
You had me at the beginning, that was
it's just one of those things I've been ever since I just got on Instagrams. Okay.
And now you know all about sex magics and cabals.
People were talking.
You knew about the cabal. You had a problem with this before.
I didn't know how to pronounce it. I didn't know the full extent. But
Eddie had a problem with QAnon.
You're telling me about Kevin Spacey's, and now you don't think that he's part of that cabal?
I was just seeing if you knew about his Christmas videos that he used to release, and then again, he just started again.
The only Christmas videos I watch is the Garfield Christmas special with Pat Carroll from 1988. And I watched that because that's the last time I ever kissed my grandfathers. And I remember he had a sort of a hickory or some sort of like a wood chestnut. I'm not sure.
Are you kissing him on the mouth?
Well, Orson Welles, Citizen Kane's, he had the rosebud. I had the rosebud flavor. It was just a quick kiss.
Okay, but Teddy, I need to know, where are you getting the flavor from? Is this like his cheek, or are you kissing him on the mouth?
It was obviously a kiss on the mouth, Bobby.
It wasn't obviously. I mean, only in the way of you remember only in the way that it's a memorable kiss. During the Garfield holiday special, which I don't think that's anyone's favorite.
It was the last time. It was the last time I had a Christmas before I cried every Christmas. Okay, I'm trying to rebuild.
Was he the big provider for Christmas?
Well, he was the one who would give me the gifts. Yes,
he said. You bet he had you sit on his lap too.
A lot of them were knives, and a lot of them were Bibles. And yes, I did sit on his lap, and I felt safe.
BetterHelp.com.
And just because he had a 1,000-yard stare from his time in World War II. And that made his face express outwards a little bit more so I could taste the inside of his lip. with an innocent kiss with my grandpa.
This is a lot to unpack, I think, for something else.
Well, you're the one talking about Kevin Spacey, and I'm sorry I'm talking about my grandfather. Happy memory from Christmas.
The jump you took, that it's like, that's how you know you're not doing good in the media, when people can associate Kevin Spacey with that time they were clearly molested by their World War II shell-shocked grandfather during the Garfield holiday special. So we're going to go ahead and move on. But hey, guess what, Teddy?
What's that?
You're going to like this, okay?
I better.
You're going to like this. Because again, we apologize, folks. We got a little off track in the last episode.
I'm not even going to admit it.
Again, I'm working on editing. I'm trying to get better to cut stuff out. I'm sure I can get all of that shell shock stuff out that was terrible. But maybe we'll start here. Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Starting here. Hey, Teddy. Hey. So you guys probably don't know this about Teddy. Learn a little bit about us real quick. But Teddy is the 1998 and 1999 CNET champion of Milwaukee.
And 2003.
He traveled there because he didn't live there. But CNET champion, okay? So, Teddy, we're going to have a little fun here in the opening, okay? We're going to play, I'm going to play some clips for you, Teddy. And I want you to guess what movie it's from.
Oh my God, Bobby. Yes, I can't wait. Let's do it right now.
You excited?
Why weren't we doing this earlier?
Well, because you
were talking about Kevin Spacey and distracting me, but
I'm going to cut that. I told you.
Oh,
all right. You ready? All right.
Yeah, I was born.
Viewers, please. I promise this is going to tie in. Don't worry. The payoff will be worth it. All right.
All
right. Here we go, Teddy. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Here's your first clip. All right.
First clips.
Pop quiz, hot shot. There's a bomb on a bus.
Bomb on a bus. Speeds.
Dennis
Dennis Hopper.
He's right. Speeds. 1994.
What a face.
1994. Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, and obviously, I know you're big fan of Speed too. And honestly, you know what? That is the superior one. Cruise ship. Jason Patrick.
Yes. Most people won't agree with us, but we do believe that they improved the formula with cruise control.
As much as I love Dennis Hopper, Willem Dafoe is just unhinged, and that was my introduction to him as a child. Yeah. All right, you ready for your next clip?
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter.
Let me guess. Let me think. Is it 5-0 goes east?
It was 5-0 goes west, but no, that's not from that.
Oh, okay. No, I was wrong.
You don't go. Okay. Well,
What was it?
Well, I'll tell you. You'll find out. You'll find. All right. Hey, you ready for your next clip?
If you deviate from our instructions in any way whatsoever, she will be killed.
That is obviously Rufus Peoples.
Danny DeVito. Great movie.
Love that movie. Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, so you got that one right.
I'm 2 for 3.
All right, yeah. All right, here's your next one. You ready?
Yeah.
If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies.
Well, I want to say maybe it's I Am Sam, because I'm thinking Michelle Pfeiffer, Mackay Pfeiffer, or somebody's.
But you do kind of recognize it, right?
Well, a stray dog.
Mm-hmm.
Stray dog. Where did I just hear that?
All right.
That Frankie Muniz movie with the skip dog.
No, that's not it.
No.
But it
was something. I've heard it.
You do recognize it.
Stray dog.
Okay, all right. Well, let's keep going, okay? Here we go.
All right.
If you talk to anyone, I don't care if it's a Pekingese pissing against a lamppost.
Now, obviously, that's Dirty Harry.
That's Dirty Harry, yeah.
You talk to anybody, even a stray Pekingese. Yeah.
Stray Pekingese, that's interesting.
Which is a dog. Stray dog, stray Pekingese. Stray dog, that Bobby. Wait a minute.
Hold on. Well, here we go. Let me give you your last 2 clips, okay? Here we go.
Don't try to grow a brain, John.
Don't try to grow a brain, John. That was from the ransom letter.
There you go, Teddy.
That was from the ransom letter for JonBenét.
Yeah, that's not a movie. I pulled one over on you. But, here we go. How about this next one, okay? Here we go.
Do not attempt to grow a brain.
Oh my God, that was from Speed as well, too. From the fucking movie. Dennis Hopper said that, and then it was also in the ransom letter?
Yeah, it was
the same sentence, Bobby. What the fuck are you doing to me? I feel like I'm part of some psychological mind experiments right now. Wait a minute.
The ransom note had a lot of pop culture references in it, Bobby. A lot of
lines from movies.
Yeah.
Just trying to let people know what you mean.
Absolutely.
Pop culture is a reference to things that were presented to people and made culture pop. And you're saying that it popped and was shown to people, and then later on, wait a minute, were all those movies before the ransom letter?
Yeah. So, it's in, whoever wrote the notes.
The killer wrote
the mine,
the note.
And that's what, again, guys, we're doing a mulligan. So this episode's, we're really buckling down. We're going to focus on the crime scene.
The killer love movies.
We got a lot to talk about.
The same movies I know.
Insane ransom note, and then we're going to look at the house, the possible weapons,
Bobby,
the strange evidence. I know.
You're blowing my fucking mind right now.
I mean, on top of the whole ransom connection with the fact that the ransom movie was out in cinemas at the time.
Oh my God. It's a jam-packed episode. I might as well be a fucking Smucker's jar right now because I am filled with jam.
Happy birthday from Al Roker, bitch.
Happy birthday. This is going to be jam-packed with action, packed facts of stacked factual contraptions. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
All that shit. Absolutely.
Let's get started.
Absolutely. Here we go. Well, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan Desmecchia.
And this is JonBenét Today.
We've been told that there's a lot of movie talk in here. This person liked movies.
Well, there's obviously a couple of references, I think, to something that people think came from a couple of movies, which would lend one to think that it might be maybe a younger person who watches a lot of movies.
They may have seen the movie Ransom, which was playing in Boulder. I haven't seen the movie. I've been told that it's very similar. Apparently there's Clint Eastwood movie lines in this thing. We don't watch movies that much.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm astounded at how the verbose knowledge of film history that the killers of JonBenét had when they wrote that letter in the intensities of the time constraints they had writing 3 pages. I mean, my God, one of the longest ransom letters I've ever heard in my life.
Well, I'm sorry. So do you think that they were just pulling it out of, like they were trying to cite films?
It's one of those things, Bobby, where you got to almost think of it like almost like a Billy Elliot kind of way. Where when the moment comes, when your spotlight's on you, when it's your turn to kill or kidnap a little girl and write a letter, and you don't know when someone's going to wake up. It's a house of multiple peoples, right? You got to do it quick. You got to rely on your intuitions.
Right.
And this is a person who obviously and apparently...
Well, and subconsciously, possibly.
Maybe subconsciously, maybe unconsciously.
Well, yeah, like Carlos Mencia. Carlos Mencia didn't know.
Carlos Mencia obviously did not invent the taco like he claimed.
I don't think that's what he said.
And I don't even think he's from Mexico.
No.
They say the X silently. Let's get back on the subjects.
Back on the subject.
And the subject is that Patsy Ramsey says that she doesn't watch movies, and the killer and the person who wrote the letter, they obviously watch a lot of movies that are action-packed and scored by Alan Silvestri or Howard Shore.
Or Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, you're right.
But Teddy, that's I mean, they could just be lying.
They could just be lying. The Ramseys could be lying?
I mean, they could be by saying they don't watch movies where, they don't even understand those references.
John Ramsey said in front of God and America that he's never seen Ransoms, which came out like a month or so before his daughter died.
Sure, but that doesn't mean, and again, like, this doesn't say they did it or not. No matter what, whoever wrote the note, this was on their mind. Not necessarily they were trying to consciously quote the things, but, it was still there. And for John just not to see Ransom wouldn't exclude him because,
I don't think John Ramsey saw Spacey.
It was in theaters. He's got a TV. That trailer was everywhere.
John Ramsey doesn't strike me as someone who would watch Speeds because it probably would give him high blood pressures.
Right.
And so I mean, if he says that he hasn't seen these movies, he and Patsy, they don't watch movies. They just sit inside their house and they stare at pictures of paintings in books or something.
Did you say he seems like he has high blood pressure? Because this isn't something we can't just say.
He doesn't strike me as the type who likes an action.
We're not throwing this into this. Is supposed to be about evidence, and I'm not trying to throw into evidence that John has high blood pressure. You haven't seen Congo?
No. You think John Ramsey's seen Congo? I don't think so. What if there was I could watch Congos right now, Bobby. I could watch Congo and I could pick out a sentence and I could find a similar sentence in a ransom letter. I'm just being honest with you. But I don't think John Ramsey's the type who would watch these biologically engineered monkeys
I'm not saying John wrote it.
Curry and all these other people, let alone Anaconda. Don't get me started on Lake Placid.
Look, Teddy, I'm trying to just drive home. It's written in a way like a cliche movie villain. where it's just like the only purpose of this note seems to be to just send the protagonist on their journey kind of stuff, you know?
Oh, wait, hold on, because I'm learning. Yeah. And that means our audience is learning. So what you mean to say is that in these movies, the bad guys say certain phrases to the good guys to kind of give them a missions.
Yeah.
One would almost say an objective.
Right.
And it's almost like the person who wrote the 3-page ransom letter said the same things in a way to not only set the Ramseys on a mission, but in essence,
well, at least
to define them as the protagonists.
Sure. Well, not them, though. Again,
you can't have a good guy without a bad guy.
Stop, though. This note is just addressed to John. It doesn't mention Patsy at all. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even say JonBenét's name. So
the women are neglected and forgotten as usuals in the 90s. You know, Nicole Brown Simpson. I don't even know what her face looks like, but I know that she got killed by a black guy.
Here's a little clip on that we were just talking about.
Are you surprised that there are no swear words in there? I mean, if there's a huge degree of hatred for you.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Mm-hmm.
No, that is surprising. Nor is JonBenét's name mentioned. All they say is, we have your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say we have JonBenet.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, if it's someone that did not know us well enough to know what her name was.
I can't stand the efforts to erase the name, the memory, the being, the person who was JonBenet. But it's interesting to me that they also didn't mention Patsy's, and they didn't cuss. They didn't say even the word damn or shit or fuck you, you piece of shit. I'm going to kill your daughter.
I mean, they said they were going to behead her and deny them of the remains if they talked to the police, which, by the way, they didn't. So,
my gosh, there's 3 pages there, and they don't say one mean thing to them except, I
mean, they're kind of worried about him. They're like, hey, John, make sure you get some rest.
Take your Metamucil and, get your lower back massage so you don't get cramps.
The note, it's a very long note. Here's John on this strange note.
Probably took a while because it obviously was written to attempt to disguise the handwriting. A 3-page note, which I think this is either the longest or the second longest ransom note in the history of this country.
It's the longest, by the way.
It's so long, you can't read it in one day unless you have the computer prowess of AI technology.
Right. It was clearly this small foreign faction's first ransom note because
it was originally
long.
It was originally written in a cuneiform Sanskrit tablet. That was deciphered by experts from the Natural Museum of British Histories.
I don't think that's true.
I think I heard that somewhere.
But for me, I find it curious because the note very much spends a lot of time harping on don't talk to the police.
Right.
And it's basically talking about all the ways that if you try to,
they're going to cut a head off.
You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if 99. You try to outsmart us, but 100% chance of getting it back if you cooperate, which is weird. I like that they gave John that 1 point.
They gave him a bit of a doubt. If he was going
to try to outsmart,
that 1%.
It might work.
And you got to give them that 1% because that's that extra little bit of human spirit where maybe they can't outwit them. And they're humbles enough to know that John Ramsey he wasn't born yesterday. He's a smart man.
Yeah.
And they're just laying it out that maybe he will outwit them. But what strikes me so strange is that they said they were going to cut off JonBenét's precious little blonde head.
Right.
And they never did.
They didn't. And they also said, again, they were going to deny the remains
and
if they call the police.
Her remains were right there in the house.
Yeah, left in the house. Because again, Teddy, this don't make no sense.
So what do you think happened?
Holding somebody ransom in the basement of their own house,
You think that they heard the Ramseys wake up and they just decided to kill her and then leave?
Well, then that would mean they wrote the note already. So it's a thing of like, when do you think they wrote the note? Do you think they... Because, the Ramseys think that somebody came into the house while they were at the party.
The Ramseys think they came before... Wait.
Possibly, yeah. And they're saying they scope. Well, Patsy thinks that gave them ample time to learn the layout of that super complicated fucking house, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Oh my God, that house makes my eyes cross in ways that...
It's a nice house, though.
It's a nice house. It's a nice house to have a family member get murdered in if you had to pick. I wouldn't want them to
try to hide the body.
I've seen a lot of dilapidated and unkempt homes, and I would not want my child to be viciously, brutally in the dark murdered there. I would want them to be murdered in a stately palace of Boulder, Colorado.
mean, if we think that she was possibly murdered and where her body was found, it's the wine cellar, which wasn't even used for a wine cellar. Patsy hid packages down there. We're gonna get to that later in the episode, but it's a cold, dark,
it's a jam-packed episode, everybody.
You're not gonna want to die in this room, though.
There's no wine in the wine room, so why is it called a wine room? That's the thing. That's the thing. It's and there's so much, and so I just want to say real quick, this letter perplexes me.
Right.
I think it raises so many questions because, one, it's the longest letter ever written in the history of letters.
Absolutely.
Longest ever.
Ransom notes, yeah.
Longest ransom note ever. It was written on Patsy's pad.
Yeah, and you know what? And the only reason they had that was because the cops were asking for handwriting samples, and John turned over...
Later in the day.
And
the cops was there.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't even later in the day. It was, when they were still there for a kidnapping. They wanted handwriting samples from John and Patsy. John went ahead and gave them a little notepad on the desk. That was Patsy's. And he gave him a little notepad for him. And it wasn't until later that the police realized they're like, oh, this was the notepad.
They were like,
the
oh my God.
Note was
it's got the same watermarks.
And they found the practice one in the trash.
Oh my God. When did the cops get to the house, Bobby?
Pretty much immediately.
When did Patsy
called 911 around like 5:55 a.m. and the police were there by about 6:00 something. Like
my God.
It was within minutes.
They were there quick. Lightning speed, serving and protecting.
Right. Linda Arndt didn't show up till about 8:05 though. Which I was reading her report the other day and I found that very interesting where she's specifically supposed to be there for the kidnapping call.
Linda Arndt, the
lead detective that thinks the Ramseys did it. She was the one that was, she was going to shoot them. She was counting the bullets and shit. So she, in her report, I was reading the other day, which we'll talk about later on, but she shows up to the house at 8:05, according to her report, which I found funny because she's, again, only supposed to be there for the kidnapping call.
For the call.
Which is supposed to take place between 8 and 10 a.m.
8 and 10 a.m. 2 hour window.
She showed up late.
She was showing up late. She got herself a sausage McMuffin and a coffee at McDonald's.
Showing up late with Starbucks.
She's like, hey, everybody, I got you guys some hash browns.
Did they call?
Back when hash browns cost 35 cents like they're supposed to, because it's fucking potato. It's fucking potatoes.
90s America.
Potatoes are cheap. I can make hash browns for like less than $1. I promise you. I promise you. But
oh wait, we got to get back.
Police were there at 6 a.m.
Yeah. But that's again, they got the samples. John inadvertently turned over what the culprit wrote it on.
John turned over the pad that Patsy owned that the killers, I was about to say serial killers, but they didn't kill more than one people. They killed one people. They killed JonBenét. So they made a point to only kill one person in that house.
But why? When do you do it? Like, when do you write the note? Do you get in the house, case it out while they're at the party, and then write the note, or do you write the note?
That's a good question.
Usually
when I write something freehand like that, I have to do a couple drafts. I have to do a few different drafts. A couple months ago, I was doing invitations for a little get together at the center that I go to for my community service things, and I was trying to write really elegantly, delicately to people going to just attract like, hey, we got Hawaiian Punch and 7-Up, and it took me a long time and a lot of different tries. And sometimes I couldn't erase it. I rewrote it with a pen.
And imagine how, like, we heard it from John himself. Yeah. They were clearly trying to disguise the handwriting. So imagine how long it would take you to write that invitation.
How do they disguise the handwriting, by the way? Because it's your hand, right?
Well, because it's with knowledge of knowing that they're going to try to get handwriting samples of you. So you got to write different than how you normally write. I'm sorry. The intruder can't write how they normally write with the note. So if, and we'll have
they didn't want to be caught. They didn't want to be discovered. They wrote with a different way. How they write? Would they write like upside down or something? If I had been the serial killer, the kidnapper, I would have typed it up in a Microsoft Word document and had it ready with me when I came into the house.
That's interesting. I don't know if they own the printer, so.
Well, that's true.
Anybody that's actively going in there for a kidnapping, that's kidnapping 101. You go in, you don't write the ransom note.
Go to
at
fucking
the crime
Kinkos.
scene. Yeah.
Don't write it at the place. Go to Kinkos. Use a public computer.
I don't. That sounds like bad advice.
Smack the monitor so it doesn't remember what it saw, and then walk out of there with the ransom letter typed up, so you don't have to worry about masking your handwriting.
I agree, but they didn't know that.
They didn't know that.
And then also the other thing we should look at though too is that the weird amount of money that they asked for.
I was perplexed at why $118,000. Why not $1 million? I mean, why not? If this, but there's only this number. Madman knows why.
And then also there's the thing with his bonus.
That was a supposition I put forward Early on, as I look back to try to figure out what that number meant, I offered that up to the police and said this possibly could be the case. I don't know that it was. Who knows? I mean, only the killer knows, and this is a deranged individual.
Bobby, what's a bonus?
So when you work like a salaried job, I know you haven't held one of those, but I mean, it's one where it's like you're not clocking in and out. You're just really just giving your life away for nothing. It's not worth it. But so a bonus is basically like, when you, which is weird because he was the CEO of his own company, but it's when you reward your employees for a good year with extra money.
You get extra money?
Yeah.
In addition to being paid hourly.
Yeah.
You get...
Well, not hourly, your salary. So it's just, a day.
Salary doesn't get paid hourly? They don't get paid?
I mean, you get paid hourly, but you're not clocking in,
Salary people have...
So it's like if your job starts at 7 a.m., you can show up at 7:30. It's fine.
And then
because no matter what,
nobody's judging. Nobody's...
Right, but you're only getting paid. But again, it's a thing where they expect you to work more too. So you're only getting paid from 7 to 5, but you might be there till 7.
But if you do a good job, you get a bonus.
Well, yeah, and then also if you're a CEO of your own company, I guess you can decide that you get a bonus, which is what happened with John.
John's bonus was $118,000
for the prior year, 1995. His bonus was $118,000.
Bobby, that's a lot of money for the 90s. Right. That's like $1 million today.
Right, and so John initially offered that up as a theory of why they asked for it, where he's saying that $118,000 was on all of his payroll stubs for the past year. So anybody in his office could have seen it.
People he worked with.
But that interview that we were listening to, that's from 4 years later in the year 2000, where John is now saying, he's kind of backtracking a little bit and being like, well, that could have been it. I brought that up, but now that Lou Smith's a part of the case and he's going hard with the pedophile theory, it's maybe,
Did he work with a pedophile, you think? A pedophile from another country? Because I seem to recall something, Bobby. The people who kidnapped JonBenét, I seem to recall that they were part of something called a small foreign faction.
Faction. Not a fraction, yeah.
Faction.
Yeah.
Faction?
No, faction. So think like a little, it's not, when you're a faction, I guess it's more of like, it's not a terrorist group yet. It's like you're growing into it.
Okay. It's the owl before the gator.
Right. Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel like I'm starting to put things together. I feel like I'm starting to see a little bit more of the reality of the situation where there was minutes and hours and days where this all occurred right in the ground zero, obviously before 9/11's ground zero. And it was something where we are making the important point to look at what was happening in those times. And the ransom letter, the crime scene, that all happened within hours. When did she die? When did JonBenét die?
So the best estimate that they can come to is that it looks like she probably died around 1:30 in the morning.
1:30 in the morning?
I think that's where they put the time of death.
Where do they get that estimates from? From like a sand spin?
Well, I mean, coroners are pretty good at determining how long someone's been dead based on rigor and
if you put a coroner in a round room, are they going to be able to determine where the corners are? No.
No, you think that's... No,
I'm sorry. I'm always thinking about
For someone
shapes.
who's so good at shapes, you're fucking terrible at words. It's coroner. Like somebody, again, autopsy, the guy who... got into her system, not an Xbox system. It was, they found the pineapple in the system. Yes,
I remember now. I'm sorry, Bobby. I'm sorry, Bobby, forgive me. I remember. Please go on. Please continue.
Right. So they were,
my apologies.
They were able to determine a time of death because they're fucking professionals. And also based on rigor mortis.
Rigor mortis.
Yeah. And Rick
Moranis is alter ego.
No.
Rigor mortis is what happens when you eat a popsicle too fast. And
no, that's brain freeze. That's brain freeze, Teddy.
Brain freeze.
That's brain freeze.
What is rigor mortis, Bobby?
Rigor mortis is when where you get all stiff from being dead.
Oh.
You can't really, if you die holding somebody's hand and you're holding it for a long time and rigor mortis sets in, it's going to be kind of hard to pry your hand free,
That's when you turn into meat.
Yeah.
You're no longer a body. You're no longer a person. You're a carcass.
Absolutely.
Rigor mortis makes the body hard.
And, and by the time that John was bringing JonBenét's body up the stairs.
From the basement.
She was full on rigor mortis where I very much encourage you guys to go and look. It's so hard to really explain what it looked like, but John's holding JonBenét's body away from him, and JonBenét's hands are fully up in the air as if, she's like
a cheerleader.
Right, as if she's doing an O in the OH kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, like she's a Buckeye fan.
Right, and again, she's dead. She's fully dead. She's been dead for hours. And rigor mortis said her hands are above her head, and he's holding her vertically away from his body. Her
arms and her hands were hard.
JonBenét
got hard in the meantime before she was found by her father. And when he picked her up from took up the stairs, her arms were straight up, verticals.
And that's rigor mortis. So that's how, again, they're very professional. So they're able to determine the time of death.
Oh my gosh, I learn something those every day. 1:30 a.m.
1:30 a.m. Yeah, but that's, again.
And the police were there at 6 a.m. And her Patsy called at 911 at
around 5:55.
5:55.
Yeah. And Teddy, the other thing with this, the ransom note, you leave a ransom note, and you know what that means?
Ransom note,
that means the FBI is going to get involved.
What do you say?
Well, the FBI is going to get involved because it's a ransom. They deal with kidnappings. That's their jurisdiction.
Right. FBI deals with ransoms.
So they were waiting for the FBI to get there on that day of, And then when the body was found, they ended up calling it off, and the jurisdiction went back to the Boulder Police Department.
The FBI was on their way.
Murder. Yeah.
The FBI was on their way to the Ramsey's house.
Yeah.
But the moment when John Ramsey found JonBenét's body, they were like, "Oh, let's call the FBI because actually we don't need them no more." But
basically, it went back to it being
the FBI is a federal bureau of investigation.
Oh yeah,
that's bigger.
The case would have went, I think, a lot differently.
Yeah, I mean, the case definitely would have had different people looking at it because if it's in their jurisdiction, they are not only just in Boulder, Colorado, like the Boulder, Colorado.
They're in the national parks.
They're in national parks. They're everywhere. You can't turn a corner or go on any webpage after 12 in the morning without the FBI saying, "Hey, what you doing?" I get knocks on my door all the time. But that's interesting to know that was happening, that they were on their way.
Yep.
And it changed their jurisdiction.
Yeah, it went to being a murder now. Now it's not a ransom, and we don't need the FBI.
They're like, murders happen everywhere. Ransoms and kidnappings, those don't happen as often, and those are usually signs of a more sophisticated type of villain. And the FBI goes after them. That's why you see FBI in those types of movies where someone gets kidnapped and they're like, FBI.
Let's get Shema Moore in here.
They fly helicopters. They fly those little Apple helicopters at the worm. Yeah,
the drone.
The drones. They fly drones. They fly helicopters. They fly private planes. They get to where they need to go. The federal bureau.
Yeah,
they're everywhere, all across countries. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
That is pretty interesting, Bobby.
Well, the last thing with the ransom note that we want to touch on before we move on to the other evidence, Teddy, is the very end of the ransom note.
The very end.
It ends so weird. So it says victory.
Victory.
And then S.B.T.C. And they all got dots after them, except for the C. It's an initialism.
The letters got dots after them, except for the C. S.B.T.
To let you know,
have a dot.
To let you know, as the reader, this stands for something.
It's an initialism.
It's an initialism, yes.
And that means that it's a letter standing for a word.
Right. Not an acronym.
You sure it's not for frozen yogurt, TCB-wise?
It's not frozen yogurt, but yeah. But also not an acronym, because an acronym is something that actually spells, fuck you, Taddy.
I'm just thinking about frozen yogurt. I love frozen yogurt, Bobby.
But S.B.T.C. a lot of people think that it's a biblical reference and stands for Saved by the Cross.
Saved by the Cross with Screech?
No, that's Saved by the Bells.
That's Saved by the Bells. I know. I'm sorry.
No, this is Saved by the Cross. Right.
It's a Catholic thing.
Or a Christian thing. I'm not sure. I don't fuck with that stuff.
Who was saved by the cross? Jesus? He died on the cross.
Well, we are saved by the cross.
Where is it? What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
Well, there's been a lot of speculation as to what that means, okay? But, the Ramseys, they very much, they have a big faith in God,
They sure do.
And because the word victory precedes the initials S.B.T.C., a lot of Christians know that it's through Christ's sacrifice on the cross that we have victory over death.
Victory over death.
Yes.
So in a ransom letter that was written before anybody was dead, we're talking about victory over death in a manner that's saying a person's soul may still succeed and victory or
Austin 3:16.
Without even despite or in spite of being a dead body. And then we have a dead body. Interesting, because it almost makes me wonder if the killers wrote the letter after JonBenét died.
I very much believe that.
There were about 4 hours.
I think it was a cover-up.
Between when your body was dead, that the coroner said, and when Patsy saw the ransom letters that were on the curved staircase, which was not the main staircase. I remember looking at that diagram you showed me earlier.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, I got the egg yolk on it, but
that's okay.
It's okay. I mean, you can still kind of read some of the words.
The eggs aren't supposed to be that runny, by the way. Like,
well,
the white should be cooked.
I like my eggs medium rare. Okay. All right. I ever since I saw Sylvester Stallone swallow that lady's spit in that 70s pornos where he was fucking her raws. I'm sorry.
Italian stallion.
Everybody's got to do something. We've all got to pass. And so when it comes down to it.
Do you know he talks like that because his face was crushed by his mother's birth canal when he came out? I remember being little thinking he was foreign.
Yeah.
No, Sylvester Stallone just talks fucked up because his face got wrecked by his mom's vagina.
She had like a male slot kind of.
Or his mom's birth canal.
Yeah, like she was tight and oblong.
Mm-hmm.
And what's also interesting is that she's a psychic who predicts people's futures by reading their butt cheeks, and that's a fact. You can look that up.
We got to get her on the show then.
Let's put her in a clip.
Let's get her on the show.
I don't know if she's still alive, but we can read her butt cheeks and find out. Now, I want to get back to the subject. I don't want to dilly-dally because we got a lot to talk about.
Well, again, it seems to be a biblical reference. Saved by the cross, S.B.T.C. Which again, last thing on it, the amount, the 118,000.
Yeah.
Seems to be, it could, a lot of people speculate that since the Saved by the Cross thing is in there, it could also be a biblical reference.
Well, and frankly, I would be surprised because when you look at the complexities of the letter so far, why not just throw some more Bible references in there? You got Keanu Reeves and Dennis Hopper's. You got Danny DeVito. You got Clint Eastwood's. Go
for the good book.
Go ahead and add Jesus Christ. Go ahead and add David and Goliath, and all those animals in the ark. I don't know, but yeah. So wait. 118,000, that might be a Bible reference?
Yeah, Psalm 118, which says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever."
What the fuck? Why would they put that in there in a letter where they're trying to extort this family of $118,000? Like, if I'm going to take a passage from a Bible, I'm going to take a bigger number. And I'm not going to take something that also kind of sounds like I already killed JonBenét. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Well, here's...
I'm just hearing this right now, Bobby, and I want to just say, for the record, I feel like the killers wrote the letter after she died because there's weird sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Allusions to everlasting life, eternal things, Bible things, life after death things.
Absolutely. There's just so many references, and here's one of the experts on that same thing you're talking about.
The fact that the offender felt compelled to write this note goes to staging and creating a false motive and trying to deflect the investigation.
McCrary says only in staged situations do you see multiple motives, hoping one will stick.
McCrary says...
So the note's just batshit all over the place.
Yeah, we don't know what the motives are because... Instead, we're asking all these questions even 30 years later. And it makes it sound like it's a cover-up.
It was a diversion,
Diversions. The killers had one goal. Something else happened. They had to cover it up. They had to change tactics.
That's right.
And do you remember that show, Scare Tactics? I bet they were scared. And it's one of those things where it's like, if the stakes are that high, you're gonna eat a goat's eyeball or testicles.
You talking about Fear Factor?
Oh,
Teddy,
yeah.
Teddy, we gotta stay on track.
There's okay. I'm not gonna talk. I'm gonna stop talking. How about I just stop talking, Bobby? How about that?
No.
I don't know. I feel like
I just remember last episode. We promised the viewers we're gonna keep on track.
We promise. I know. You're right.
We're doing so good.
I feel like
we're breezing through the ransom note section.
I mean, I am entertained and enlightened.
You ready to move on to the next piece of evidence?
Yes, please.
All right, let's do this. We're gonna move on now to the room of JonBenét Ramsey. Okay, so we didn't have time to record a commercial this week. But
I didn't have time to go to the bathroom.
We still want sponsors, but I did find an old clip of us talking about AMC that it might as well be a commercial.
We're talking about AMC the movie theater.
Yeah, AMC Stubs.
Oh my God.
So sponsor us, please, for the love of God. We still, it's week 4. We need another.
Yeah, be a Harriet Tubman, not a Harriet Tub girl, and go ahead and listen.
Drink that bathwater.
Now after what happened that night, I saw bumblebees.
No, I'm not going to talk about it, Bobby. I'm not going to talk about it. Well, what happened was I went to the movie theater. I went to go see Bumblebees. I was really excited. Steven Spielberg's executive produced Bumblebees. You know that, right?
Oh, of course.
He did that. He did. And when Spielberg's got his name on the posters, I'm going to be there to see that movie. And I went there. And I was like, I said, 1 ticket for Bumblebees, please. And they refused. My card got declined. And they refused to let me in there. I was a regular patron of the AMC's 42s, okay? And the 42 screens, I would go there all the time.
Well, if you're a Stubs member, they're going to treat you like shit. So you got to get a Stubs card.
Listen, Stubs card, Purple Heart, I'm sick of having to get other things when all I want to do is do the things that I'm already here to do. And I try to make it a routine. I'm there all the time. I always ask them, "Do you got leftover popcorn? Can you put it in a trash bag for me?"
You sound like a pain in the ass customer.
No, I am.
You're trying to get in for free. You're always asking them to bag up the popcorn for you.
You shut your ignorant fucking mouth talking about me like that. I am the community of the AMC 42.
You're not even a Stubs member.
Oh my God!
Have you seen the commercials before the movie? It's basically like, if you're not AMC Stubs,
I've got high arches, Bobby. I couldn't be in the military. Stop judging me. I got high arches.
There's no draft for AMC Stubs.
I should be able to go see Bumblebees the movie in theaters.
Not for free.
Anytime I want to.
Yeah, you can with AMC Stubs.
Wait, so what is AMC Stubs?
It's a membership. Yeah, you get weekly movies. You can see like up to 3 a week.
Up to 3 movies a week?
Yeah, and you get free upgrades on sizes of popcorns.
You're shitting me.
And they tell you get a free large popcorn refill with your membership, but I've gotten one without. But
wait a minute, so you're saying I can watch 3 movies a week?
3 movies.
For free?
For free. Unless they're IMAX.
How much does it cost?
It's free.
It's free.
Except for whatever you're paying monthly, which is probably a lot. I think it's like $30.
$30.
15 to 30.
Listen, I'm paying $30 every time I go to the movie theater.
No, you're not. It sounds like you're trying to get in for free and you're taking bags.
This one time I wanted to get in for free because I was a value member, but apparently I need to be Stubs member for AMC to let me in the movie and see Bumblebees.
Yeah, so AMC Stubs, folks.
Anyway. And needless to say, I've always related to Barbara Bush with shape similar.
Sure. Yeah, that's okay. Really getting emotionally drained from this.
I'm so drained thinking about little girls, dead little girls.
Right.
Talking about dead little girls.
I've watched all the documentaries on YouTube, and I've just moved on to the makeup tutorials on TikTok about her.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, eventually you could just start to learn how to put on makeup that JonBenét wore, like how she wore it. Every year, maybe around Halloween, maybe around these deals with this, we could dress up as JonBenéts, go out.
I don't think people are gonna get that.
Well, are they gonna get it? Are they gonna maybe not get it? But be so curious that they'll ask and then they'll want to join in. And before you know it, all across America, we'll be holding hands as JonBenéts walking down avenues, walking into, bars and grills.
John Ramsey's neighborhood.
Hi, welcome to Chili's. Hi, we're JonBenéts, party of 12.
100 little JonBenéts.
100 little JonBenéts.
Trick-or-treating in John Ramsey's neighborhood.
100 little JonBenéts knocking on his door. Hi. It's going to be like a Christmas Carol.
It'll be like the Minions, but your dead daughter.
A Christmas JonBenét. Minions with your dead daughter.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right. We're backing into the show. Okay.
Oh. Yeah, let's go back in.
We're going back in again. We're going into her room.
We're going in her room.
The crime scene. This was cordoned off for most of the day of the ransom.
Cordoned off. Chicken cordon bleu.
Sure. I mean, with crime scene tape, but it is a delicious cut of.
I do love. It's just delicious. There's different ways you can prepare chicken.
Right.
There's different ways you can kill a child.
So me and Teddy, we actually we got together and we watched the YouTubes of the crime scene video on my phone. And
terrifying. Horrifying.
So we saw them do the walkthrough of her room,
They didn't say a word. It was dead silence.
It was very cool. It could have used some backing track.
It would have been nicer with maybe a song from the Disney 20th Century Fox movie Anastasia's.
That would have been a little tasteless.
Yeah.
But so we watched this guy walk through her room, right? All right. And it's a nice room. She's got her own bathroom.
She got a bathroom, everybody.
We walked through there.
It's a big bedrooms.
It's bigger
than any bedroom I've ever had.
Right. And her toilet was not flushed.
Toilet wasn't flushed?
No, the toilet wasn't flushed.
She's got a nice toilet like that, but she keeps it dookies.
I don't know if he caught that in the video, but if you read the actual reports,
didn't see
they
it.
questioned Patsy about it.
I was looking in that toilet bowls and I was trying to see, because I'm really good at finding poop in toilet.
Right. Well, a lot of and we'll get into this in a later episode, but a lot of the police like to hop on the fact that, her JonBenét's potty issues might have been a reason that Patsy was
JonBenet had potty
her.
issues?
Yeah, a lot of kids do. It's fine. She was a frequent bedwetter apparently.
Oh, she wet the bed.
Mm-hmm, and then there were some feces found on some clothes in the room.
Oh my gosh, she had some potty issues from very intense kinds of potty issues.
Right.
Because she was 6 years old by the time she died, and yet she had poopies in her clothes. So that's a little bit, here you're thinking, here she is on these stages. You see the videos of her dressing up like mademoiselles, dressing up like first ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And all this
French
time.
ladies.
French ladies at that. Mm-hmm. And all this time, she may have little poopies in her silk underwears.
I'm sure not. She could have,
She could have.
Yeah. But so, anywho, back to her bedroom.
It's a good thing she had 2 beds.
Right. That's crazy, yeah. Because, you just shit in one.
You shit in one bed. You hop in the other. I've done that before. Those one beds, they were cots.
Oh.
And sometimes they were corners of rooms and bus stations.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, what happens in Fort Worth, Indiana, stays in Fort Worth, Indiana, and in other places.
Right. So, yeah, she had 2 beds in her room. Both, one was made and it had her jacket on it from the party from the night before.
Yeah, that was the one that was closer to the balconies.
Right. And in the last picture of JonBenet ever taken, she's wearing this jacket at the Fleet White's party the night before.
Mm-hmm. It was like it was almost like a black velvet.
And that's laying on
and that little girl's smile.
That's laying on the second bed. JonBenét's bed looks kind of barely slept in, really. It's a little bit of a mess.
It's a messy bedrooms. Lots of clothes.
Right. Her pants that she was last wearing are seen pretty much right near the doorway. Like right when you come in the room, they're right there on the floor.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Her pants were the last pair of pants she ever wore.
Mm-hmm.
They were by the door.
Because again, now this is the last place that John and Patsy have seen their daughter. Supposedly, that's what they say.
In their bedroom.
John carried her up to bed. Supposedly.
Okay.
But John initially told police that he read her a story and. It's a weird inconsistency that story has changed.
Inconsistency. He said 2 different things.
Right. They wanted to maintain. They wanted to maintain that she was asleep. That's that story they're saying now.
I carried JonBenet upstairs. She was asleep when we got home. I put her to bed. I got Burke to bed. And I went upstairs and I read for a few minutes before I fell asleep. I didn't read to her because she was asleep.
She was asleep when they got home. John carried her upstairs, put her in bed, and then in his first account, they say she walked up the stairs with the presents. And Burke has also said that too, that his sister was awake and was walking
up the stairs like she does, walking upstairs to go to her bedroom.
No matter what, they've just maintained that she was asleep. So it's a weird detail, but
this is the last place out of the car.
Right, this is the last place that JonBenet was seen alive, supposedly.
Oh my gosh. And that's the sad part is that you go to a bedroom, you go there to dream, you go there to go to the private little Colorado girl bathroom.
Right. And also, remember Teddy?
Not to die.
Remember Teddy, there was that Nintendo system on the floor, the NES?
NES, yes, I does. Yes.
This was the year of the Nintendo 64, and I know that Burke got a Nintendo 64 for Christmas.
He got a Nintendo 64 for Christmas 1996. That's the year it came out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, GoldenEye. God, that was so
it looks like they possibly gave JonBenet the old one. It wasn't hooked up yet. It was
for
just
that little TV in her
floor.
closet, you'd think, because she had the only TV in that bedroom is a little tiny TV that's on one of the top shelves of the closet in the bedroom.
One of those VHS TV combos.
You would have to open the closet door in order to watch TV.
I mean, it looked like her closet was just open all the time.
It looked like that room was always messy, I'm going to be honest.
I'm sure Patsy had the housekeeper take care of it.
They must have been so busy.
Because again, Patsy would give tours. We're going to get to that later. Patsy would give tours, but there's a Christmas tree in every room of the house, including JonBenet.
There was a Christmas tree in JonBenet's room, and it was gorgeous. Mm-hmm. It was a gorgeous Christmas tree. I love how much this family loves Christmas, except for the fact that, one of their children died on Christmas.
Right. And I didn't see it in the crime scene video, but I remember seeing Patsy's tour of their house from a couple of years ago, where she showed off JonBenet's doll collection.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a wall of dolls.
A wall of dolls?
Yeah, and she's like, this is JonBenét's dolls collection. She loves them. And it's kind of like, no, Patsy, you love them.
Yeah, I didn't see those in her bedroom anymore either, though.
No, and that was weird. Maybe they're in a different room. They don't look like the dolls you play with.
They're not kind of dolls. The kind of dolls you put like in a curio or in some kind of cabinet behind glass, almost like a Precious Moments. You know, JonBenét is almost like a Precious Moments Jesus Christ of the 1990s. She's almost like a Tommy Hilfiger, Mattel type of Jesus Christ sacrifice superstar that Donny Osmond and everybody else would have been like, I would worship hers before I will ever worship a 33-year-old man.
Like Donny Osmond?
Donny Osmond, he's a Mormon. And the Mormons, they're in Utah. Maybe they were making a new religion around JonBenét. I don't know what I'm saying.
This is all speculation.
It's all speculation. It's all just what comes to my mind.
Yes, but we're going, so her dolls, right?
Dolls.
Okay. Yeah. She had that doll collection. And then also we know that one of JonBenét's Christmas gifts this year from Patsy was a life-size doll of JonBenét.
Patsy had a doll made? What?
Of JonBenét.
She had a doll of JonBenét made, and she gave it to JonBenét that Christmas in 1996. JonBenét gets a life-size versions of herself as a gift that same day that she ends up being murdered.
Yeah, she didn't like the gift either. Really. This is an excerpt from John Ramsey from his and Patsy's book, The Death of Innocence.
Patsy arranged the gifts in JonBenét's stack so that a very special box would be opened last. Inside was a Mind Twin doll, fashioned to look like JonBenét from pictures Patsy had furnished the doll maker, with a couple of matching outfits so JonBenét and the doll could dress alike. JonBenét opened the box and examined the doll with a look of curiosity.
Well, now doesn't she look like you?
Patsy asked. JonBenét held the doll at an arm's length and tilted her head slightly.
I really don't think she looks that much like me.
She concluded and laid the doll to one side. She quickly returned to a jewelry craft set which she had previously opened. Patsy looked at me, raised her eyebrows, and gave a disappointed shrug. Sometimes the big gift you had in mind for your kids wasn't really the hit you had expected.
Yeah, well, some kids, don't like your toys, but I also don't know if I'd want an exact doll.
I don't think I would want a doll.
I just want real friends.
As tall as me, that looks like me, I look into its eyes. I would probably try to destroy that doll.
I don't think.
I'm just letting you know, I've got a lot of history of rage issues. If you
seen it like a competition thing.
Well, okay, so not only was I held horizontal for years of my life, but then that kind of led me to only kind of run at an angle, and I was sometimes almost like a Tasmanian devil. And when I get angry, when I get frustrated, when I get dizzies, I would just start running around, spinning in circles, getting angry, breaking things, and I did that for a long time in my life. Sometimes I'm breaking things to this day.
Sure. Okay. Well, so yeah, the dolls.
Dolls.
Yeah. And so she had a messy room. Nothing to indicate there was some sort of struggle that took place in her room. Like she was taken from there.
Nothing that I saw.
Based on the evidence that we're going to continue to talk about, I don't think she was taken from her room necessarily. Because we're going to go ahead and we're going to move downstairs into the kitchen. Okay? This is down on the second level.
The kitchens.
Okay? We got two pretty big, I think, pieces of evidence in the kitchen.
Two big pieces.
Yeah. One is very much considered a big piece of evidence in the kitchen. The other one's just kind of ignored. And the one that's ignored, I feel like a lot, is that in initial reports of this whole thing, there was a giant mag light sitting on the counter in the kitchen.
A flashlight?
Yes.
A big heavy one.
Big heavy one.
Mag lights are big.
They are big.
They're long too.
They are. And
They're
they got a thick end, very bulbous, okay? Based on the skull fracture that JonBenét had, she was definitely hit with something that was very large on the end, like a golf club or a flashlight.
Something heavy.
Something very heavy, but on one, very, big on one end.
You're talking about the coroner report. They looked at the fracture in her skull, and it was that picture you showed me?
Yeah.
It was that really long cut. It looked like a lightning strike.
Right. And that
went from the center all the way on one side, all the way back, but it didn't break the hole.
That's right. And so whoever, did this, whether it be accident or murder, they got very lucky in that there was no blood. She didn't, it was all internal.
She either like, let's say if she had fallen down the stairs or if she got hit by something or something happened to her head that only cracked it in one spot in a long ways that didn't break the skin.
Right.
But it was in one spot, and so it must have been something heavy or hard.
Exactly.
Like a mag light.
They
did get lucky, Bobby.
Well, and also, again, this is a piece.
She didn't get lucky, but the killer.
I think important to the case in that it's just kind of glossed over. And I even have, I'm going to play a clip for you guys of the Ramseys kind of forgetting that there's a mag light.
Aren't these clips so good? Don't you guys like Barbie's clips? I love these clips. Play a clip. I can't wait.
Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
One of our neighbors reported seeing a flashlight light in the kitchen around midnight, I believe.
The beam of flashlight shining.
It's kind of weird if you watch that clip, Daddy, because I know you just saw that too. John kind of.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like John kind of remembers as he's saying it, there's a flashlight on their counter.
Yeah, he like stopped talking for a second and forgot to blink for a second. And Patsy wasn't in the picture, but she like started talking, but John just stared straight ahead. Like he was like, oh yeah, flashlight shining from the kitchen.
Maybe that was the mag light on the counter. But yeah, it's kind of glossed over.
Why is it glossed over?
I don't know. It's not really talked about.
People really don't talk about it now. They don't. You're right.
I mean, but.
So the mag light was in the kitchen. I remember seeing that photo from the crime scene. The crime scene photo, because it was on a counter in the kitchen. And John Ramsey saying that the flashlight was shining from the kitchen, that the neighbor saw it.
Exactly.
Well, what's the other thing about the kitchen, Bobby?
Well, we got the pineapple.
All I'm saying is that I did not feed her pineapple when we returned home from the White's house. She was sound asleep. She was put in her bed and tucked in good night.
And we don't know if that's significant or not. All we know is what we've told the police, and that is that neither Patsy or I gave JonBenét pineapple when we got home that night. Had we been trying to hide something, it would be very easy for us to say, oh yeah, I remember I gave her pineapple before she went to bed. Next question. But that's not what happened.
They didn't give her pineapple last night. I don't care what you say.
Are you just saying you'd believe?
If people kept asking me for years of, did you feed your daughter pineapple on the night she died? I'd be like, can you just stop talking about that?
Do you know why they're talking about pineapples?
No, not necessarily, no.
But you're just ready for, no matter what they say, Teddy's just like, yeah.
I mean, I think I'm just a really impressionable kind of person. And I hear the conviction and the anger and the rage in their voices sometimes. And it makes me mad for them. Mad with them.
Well, for those of you that don't have as much of a blind loyalty for the Ramseys and want to know why I played that for you, it's because there was a bowl of pineapples and cream sitting out on the counter of the kitchen as well.
Sitting on the counter of the Ramsey's kitchen on the night?
Yes.
From, what is pineapples and cream?
It's, some fucking weird ass
like peaches
thing.
and cream?
It's like literally like pineapples and milk from what I understand.
That's weird. I've never had that as a snack.
Well,
pineapples and cream. Not even whipped cream. Or was it whipped cream?
No, it was like cream, milk or some shit. I don't know. Either way, but this is important because there were pineapples found in JonBenét's system.
Oh my God! Inside her digestive system.
There you go.
There you go,
Daddy.
Oh, okay. That's right. The coroner saw that there was pineapple.
And why was it important?
Because the coroner said that JonBenét died about 30 minutes after she had eaten the pineapple because it hadn't turned into poops yet.
Right.
Oh my God. And there was pineapples and cream on the counter of the kitchen in her house the night she died.
Right.
But they're saying that they didn't feed her pineapple.
They're saying
so who fed JonBenét pineapple, Bobby?
That's what we're saying, you know. It had Patsy's prints on the bowl.
Patsy's print was on the bowl.
On the pineapple bowl. But again, Patsy, you heard it right there. Patsy maintains she did not give JonBenét any pineapple. She didn't feed her anything.
Do you think that maybe JonBenét woke up in the middle of the night sometime and wanted some pineapples?
I mean, it's possible her prints aren't anywhere on it.
Does JonBenét know how to get to the kitchen by herself or get food out of a refrigerator and make pineapples?
I mean, possibly.
Pineapples and cream. I
guess depending on...
Forgive me. Pineapples and cream.
Right. So, I mean, I guess she was this little 6-year-old. I don't know. I'm trying to picture her handling like a 2-gallon milk, but I don't know.
I mean, that's heavy. You might need help or, you know.
But we don't know if they had gallon milks or half-gallon.
She also doesn't flush the toilet, so how do we know she knows how to make a bowl of pineapple and cream? Let's just talk frankly for a second.
You know.
She doesn't flush the toilet after she takes poopies.
I mean...
Can you imagine the day you died, the last poop you ever took was still sitting in the toilet?
All right, well, we didn't confirm whether or not it was pee or poop.
Yeah, pineapple and poop. There's a house... There's a house of pineapples and poops everywhere you go. And it's just a little strange because you wouldn't expect it, seeing how big and beautiful the house is on the outside, that there's so many things that either have pineapple in them or poop on them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, so the Ramseys, again, they say the last place they saw JonBenét was her bedroom. right? And the last place they saw her was her bedroom.
Right.
Okay, and they're saying that she was asleep when they got home.
Yeah.
They've maintained that story, and they're saying, no, she didn't get up. No, or if she did, I don't know, but I definitely didn't make a shit. They're basically being like, we didn't see her after she went to her room. We didn't feed
a pineapple. She wasn't.
And again, Burke originally said that he didn't get up in the night, and then has since later on, I think it was with Dr. Phil, said that he did.
Who's
get
Burke?
Up. Burke's her brother.
Brent?
Burke
the brother.
Burke with the Nintendo 64.
Who's 9 years old?
9 years old. 9-year-old Burke. He maintains that, he says he did get up, but he says he doesn't see JonBenét. So,
Okay.
Somebody's lying here. Somebody made her the pineapple pie.
Someone ate the pineapple, and the pineapple got in her belly.
Mm-hmm.
And it all happened right before she got killed.
Right. She died within a half hour of consuming the pineapple. It wasn't fully digested, but that means that
it was still wiggling its little fibrous body down her little tubes of throat,
right,
into her bellies.
But everyone's pretty adamant about it, and there's even an interview with Burke in 1997 with police where it seems he'll do whatever he can to not say pineapple.
What about Christmas Eve? When you were going up there, did you guys have a snack before you went to bed that night?
I forget.
What was JonBenét's favorite snack?
I don't think she had a snack. And pineapple bed.
Okay. Would she ever like a particular thing to eat during the day, her snack?
Just whatever Mom had laid out. She always laid out a snack for after school. So whatever she had ready, could just eat.
And what would a typical snack be?
Pudding or leftover pizza or something.
Oh my God, he's a fidgety one.
He is. Yeah. He is squirming around. There's a lot of weird
He's
laughing.
Got his legs up close, but press his knees up to his chest. He's in a big chair.
I need you guys to understand, this is a lot weirder than it sounds.
So would there ever be, it sounds like your mom was pretty nutritional,
She wasn't that serious about it.
Wasn't she?
Yeah.
Some moms cut up apples.
Yeah.
What else would she do fruit-wise?
That's all I know. Pineapple.
Pineapple?
Yeah.
You mentioned that once before. Is that kind of a favorite?
Yeah. And some apples or pineapple. Probably.
Hey, he said it.
He said pineapple. He said pudding, pizza,
he was
pineapple.
Really coached into it. Like the guy, it was weird because the guy had to say like, does she ever slice up apples for you before he's like,
he was like, what kind of snacks did you eat?
Yeah.
And they were like pudding. And then there was for leftover pizza. Well, I'm like, wow, I'm really surprised, Patsy Ramsey, that you're having leftover pizza.
But then they really ran with the apples thing when he was like, favorite snacks probably apples. Or
pineapples is only like a couple letters longer than apples.
Right. The detective's the first one to say apples.
He is.
He just ran with that.
But the detective also said he's mentioned once before that about pineapples. Mm-hmm. And so then it's like, so he's mentioned in the past, but then he didn't mention it this time.
Right. It seems like he's coached.
It seems like he was coached maybe not to say it. And it's almost like the detective was able to get him to
say it. If you watch his body language, I know he's probably just a squirmy kid, but if you watch it, it's like pineapples is literally trying to get out of this kid.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, no.
His body language changed a little. It was like in the beginning, he was fidgety. He had his legs up, his knees by. But then once that detective in there started getting him closer and closer to saying pineapple. And then after he said pineapples, did you notice, Bobby, how his knees, they were like clapping?
Right, he's chewing on his thumb.
Like he was nervous. Mm-hmm. Like he was like, I was supposed to not say pineapple.
Right.
And I cannot ignore that I see that. And I don't know what that means.
Yeah, well, we'll get back to it. But just, we're cataloging all the evidence right now, Teddy.
Okay.
All right? So now we're going to move on to, just like the home, the layout, access. What was going on here?
Much has been made of the layout of the Ramsey house. There are 4 stories, or 3 floors and a basement. The top floor, where John and Patsy's bedroom was. The next floor, where the children's bedrooms were. The main floor. And the basement, where JonBenét's body was found. Some feel it was easy for an intruder to get in and a maze for the police to search.
Wow.
So this is a big home, right?
My God.
Right? So they probably have a security system, right?
Bigger than the White House.
Right? They did. Was it activated? No. That's okay.
The security system wasn't activated.
Was not activated.
They got 3 stories and a basement. And
shit ton of windows.
Do they have any dogs or anything?
They did have a dog. It was not with them that night. I think it had been staying that Christmas week with like a friend.
Why?
Like that. Hey.
Because they were busy.
They were busy. They're busy people.
They probably had a lot of plans and a lot of things they were doing. Mm-hmm. Maybe even at the house on that week. So that might be something for us to explore.
Right. And from what we have learned, it seems like the house was unlocked that night. It was not fully secured.
Not fully secured. No. They just get home. They enter the house. They're carrying JonBenét up to a bedroom.
Mm-hmm. It's the 90s, you know?
The 90s.
This stuff doesn't happen except for in the movies. But
you know, it was a time when everybody's can of Pepsi was always cold. And there was always a firework in your back pocket. And that pocket was made by Levi's here in America. Right. It was a different time.
Right. And you know, it is around Christmas time. So there was like a light snowfall. You know, there were no footprints found because the snow, it had melted by the time really that morning.
Oh.
And as far as like, you know, people who had access to the house.
Yeah.
The Ramseys initially said that the only person that had a key to their house was their housekeeper. And for me, it seemed like that was when it was kind of being implicated. They were really pushing the case towards her.
Like the Ramseys was trying to say that maybe the housekeeper has something to do?
Yeah, well, Patsy had offered up information to the police when they were asking about, you know, who you think could possibly do it. She did make mention that she had let the housekeeper borrow a couple $1,000s a couple days before Christmas.
Oh, for maybe to get some Christmas presents or something.
Probably. But so that was, you know, pushed as a possible motive. But then again, this is another one of the inconsistencies that changed later where we found out the Ramseys actually did have a lot of keys out there. You know, the Barnhills, one of the neighbors that lived right across the street had access to
the Barnhills had a key, the housekeeper had a key, and then not to mention doors were unlocked.
Doors were unlocked, you know.
And it's like
right in.
You know, are people just coming locking doors every night, or are the doors not being locked every night, or was the door locked and then unlocked that night?
And again, they would hold Christmas parties at their house, and they had one that year too.
They had a Christmas party at their house that year.
Lots of people there.
That's probably why they didn't have the dog access there.
And Patsy loved giving tours.
I've never seen a picture of this dog or a video.
Honestly, I had not either. But yeah,
it's strange to me. But so they did tours at their house?
Patsy would take them on tours because again, she put Christmas trees in every room of the house. So she loved taking people on tours.
Wait, Bobby, so you mean to say that there were a lot of people in this house that week?
That week, yes.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And so that could have been when the killer cased out the place.
Absolutely.
And saw the different doors and different windows.
Sure. But they, again, I mean, sure, we're going to get to that in our intruder episodes, but I don't think they saw all the different doors because when you get a look at the Ramsey's basement, which is where we're going to go next.
Okay.
You'll see that this was definitely not a part of the tour because this place is it is a mess. It's a labyrinth, Teddy.
A labyrinth,
Teddy.
Like David Bowie's Of Another Proportion.
Right. God rest. R.I.P.
And he took a baby's life in that movie too.
Shit. Okay, well, I just lie to people when they ask me if I've seen it. No. But don't hold it against me.
That's okay.
All right,
that's kind of what you're supposed to do with Labyrinth.
Right. And me and Teddy, we watched the crime scene footage earlier with him going through the basement. It is a mess.
I don't want people to just think, oh, a mess. Like, is that like, you know, oh, here's some hamburger wrappers from Burger King's, or here's some, you know, hamburger wrappers from Wendy's, or here's some hamburger wrappers from In-N-Out's. No, we're not talking about just wrappers. We're talking about stacks and shelves.
It's like hoarders stuff. It's not really like trash, you know, but
it's not trash, but it's not being taken care of.
Right, lots of doors, stacked on each other, rooms, and again,
taller than any child.
Right, and again, the room that JonBenét ended up being found in, like it took, they didn't even see it at first. Well, they saw it, but they said that the door was latched or something, and they couldn't get in.
It's not an open floor plan,
right?
The stairs in one spot, and then there's a room. What was that room again?
It's called the train room.
The train room.
First went into what we call the train room, which is where we found the open window and the suitcase up against the wall. We looked there for glass, again, to see if we could find any glass, because the window was not only open, it was broken.
I remember that suitcase in that pictures.
Right.
In the train room. A train room. That was Brent's train room.
Right. There was a suitcase propped up against the wall. They say there's a little scuff mark on the wall, and that this window that led out of the basement to like a little grate area where a man could fit through there. And we're gonna delve more.
We'll go on all that.
Yeah. We're just cataloging the evidence. I'm telling you guys right now, we got this room with a window. Okay. There's a Samsonite suitcase right below it. It looks like you could get in and out of it.
Okay? Exactly. You could. And I mean, there's other windows in that room too. Not every room had a window.
It didn't.
But that room was big, and it's one of the main first rooms you see when you go in that basement. And then you go in different hallways.
Right.
There's different hallways with different rooms down those hallways, like a labyrinth.
Like David Bowie, yeah. And so, again.
Bobby, you remember that episode? Oh, remember when in Home Improvements, Randy, JTT, he had his bedroom converted to, or the basement converted to a bedroom. And
he moved to the bed. He moved to the basement.
He moved to the basement.
He was tired of sharing a room with bread.
And he was scared.
Yeah,
he was scared of the basement.
Scared.
Basements are scary.
What was it called?
What was that episode called? But it doesn't matter because the whole episode, he's too scared to admit that he doesn't want to sleep down there because it's a basement. Basements are dark and cold, and this basement is huge. They could have made a whole bunch of bedrooms in that basement, probably. What was that episode called? Oh God!
I don't know. But
it'll come to me.
So close to the finish line.
Oh yeah,
it's so close. Okay, so again, that clip you heard of John, that was from when Linda Ahn had told him to go search the basement or search the house. So, and here's him describing his next journey. We're leading to the wine room.
The door was latched. I unlatched and pulled it open, and instantly what I found. I immediately took the tape off of her mouth, tried to untie her arms were bound above her head. I tried to untie the knot, and I couldn't get it untied.
The door was latched. There's locks before you can get in, or latches.
Yeah, because the police, again, when they first went through the house, when they thought it was a kidnapping, they said they got to that door and they couldn't get it open.
The cops got there around 6 a.m. on the morning of Kwanzaa, December 26th. Right. And when they were there thinking it was a kidnapping, they did go through the house, all different rooms, in this labyrinth of a house.
Looking for points of entry. They weren't looking for a body at this point.
No, but they was going in different rooms. Mm-hmm. And you're saying that when the cops got they went down into the basement, they turned right when they were in the train room, and then went down that hallway and past the boiler room, down the hall to the end bedroom where the wine room was, which was latched shut, and they couldn't get in there.
Right.
They didn't know how to unlock that door.
No. Well, I mean, again, for me,
or didn't try.
Again, they weren't. Again, the Boulder police didn't do that great of a job. But also, I give them. I forgive them in that they were only looking for points of entry.
They were just trying to see, like.
So if they had possibly asked one of the Ramseys, like, "Hey, which rooms in the basement have windows?" They would have known they didn't necessarily need to go in that room.
Because the wine room doesn't have windows.
Right. You still probably should have. But again, this house is fucking huge. So
it's a huge house.
Yeah.
It's something like 100 million square feet. Not like that big, but it's big. Yeah. And so that room, the wine room.
Right. Once he unlatched it,
that's where JonBenét's body was found.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where her body was found, and a couple more pieces of huge evidence. Yeah.
What are they?
Well, one of them is one of the the garrote that was found to her neck.
The garrote
that the coroner had to actually cut and tie. So if you look up pictures of the garrote, you're going to see with hair in it because it was so tightly close
wrapped
to her face, close to her neck. Her body had, after you die, you get a little more bloated. So
she starts swelling up.
Get it off, yeah.
A lot of sea animals do that too when they like whales. Especially if it was on a direct sunlight.
Certain conditions, yeah.
Like this room, there was no sunlight.
In a giant fucking
in this room, Bobby, there was no sunlight.
They're right, Teddy. There was no windows.
There was no windows in this room.
There was no windows.
But the garrote was in this room.
That's right. And that, again, the garrote was made out of a piece of, it was a broken paintbrush.
Broken paintbrush?
Yeah. Here we go. Let's hear Katie Kirk describe it.
I love Katie Kirk's.
He used a carefully made garrote, fashioned from nylon cord and a broken paintbrush taken from this tray in the basement.
And this tray, by the way, that was Patsy's tray.
Patsy had a tray. Patsy had pads. Patsy's got trays. And the garrote was made from a broken paintbrush. It's like they just snapped it over their knee.
Right.
And they fashioned the nylon cord around it and then used that to strangle poor JonBenét's little tiny little pale Caucasian's necks.
But,
she has such little body fat too. That little neck was so tiny.
I mean, but as far as the other murder weapon, that caused the head injury, we're not sure. And there were also, John's set of golf clubs that were in there that, as a possible murder weapon that wasn't really...
Like a garrote made out of golf clubs?
No, like what caused the head injury, Teddy? Because again, she had the garrote around her neck, but she also had a giant head injury. And it wasn't from hitting her with a paintbrush. That's the damn shit.
Like a golf club could have hit her.
A golf club, a mag light.
The flashlights. Something
possibly
heavy.
A life-size doll of yourself.
possibly anything, because there's so many things there that the killer could have just grabbed and hit her and whacked her with. It's something you really got to honestly pay close attention in your house. I want everybody to just say, if you got a home, if you got good apartments, if you got any sort of space where your possessions are located, I want you to take a minute. I want you to take a couple hours tonight. I want you to touch everything that you own. I want you to hold it. If it's heavier than a couple pounds, you might want to consider getting rid of it. Because there's so many different types of things.
Yeah, or maybe just, talk to your children. Don't, make them feel loved. Be nurturing, and don't, let it get to
make sure things are properly fastened on the wall.
Somebody's using a weapon or whatever. But
protect your children, and then maybe you don't have to pick up everything you've ever owned.
Yeah, or control your rage.
Yeah.
So, that's something to consider. But, okay, so also, another piece of evidence that was down there was the fact that there was a footprint found near her body, but it can't be determined when this was exactly from. But it was with high-tech boots.
High-tech boots?
Yeah, but also that's a common law enforcement boot.
Okay.
But Patsy is also waffled on whether or not she had gotten Burke boots. But
how big were the boots?
They were pretty big. It wasn't like an adult. Like, it could have been Burke's. Basically, It's not that big of a deal. A lot of people like to look at that, but it's, in my opinion, it's not.
Burke wouldn't be in a wine room no matter anyway.
Yeah. Well, again, this was the room, by the way, that Patsy would hide all the Christmas presents.
In the wine room.
Right.
That could be latched shut so much that cops can't necessarily can open the door easily.
Right.
So that's where Patsy keeps the presents. That's where Patsy's tray is clear. And that's where the Garrote and JonBenét's dead little mind.
Well, no. Okay. So Patsy's tray actually was in a room outside of that room.
It was outside that, but
so
in the basement.
So it was grabbed going into that.
I said near Barbie's.
All right.
I didn't say it was in there.
But yeah, I mean, it was Patsy's paintbrush, but yeah.
Where was the rest of the paintbrush?
We don't know. And then there's also the case of the duct tape on her mouth.
Duct tape?
She had a little piece of duct tape on her mouth, and they were never able to find the roll that it came from.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it was also kind of, we were told, it was loosely on her mouth because it didn't cause any sort of like abrasions with him pulling it off. But
they never found the roll of duct tape. See, that's why it's probably an intruder, Bobby, because the duct tape's probably still with the intruder by the time they left.
Yeah, but also a lot of things that some people don't really consider the fact that like your basement is filled with boxes, and like a lot of people close boxes with duct tape. You could just take a loose piece of duct tape. I'm sure they didn't catalog everyone and check those. So something to think about, Boulder, since you're still looking into the case.
Where can you find duct tape? That's if you need duct tape in a pinch, in a basement. Because it's already on a bunch of boxes down there.
Right.
Especially when you're a hoarder like Patsy Ramsey's apparently was.
Right. And so another piece of evidence that is very important in this case is the DNA, okay? And that is actually, that's too important that this is going to be its own special episode.
Okay.
That me and Teddy are going to seek out some professional help to explain it to everybody for.
DNA.
It's going to be its own episode, the DNA, because it's very important to the intruder did it theory peoples.
DNA. That's what you're made out of. You're made out of ribbons of DNA.
Yeah. Dino DNA.
DNA. But it's the amino acids.
Yeah.
That's why you got to eat Special K for your DNA.
Yeah.
To replenish the DNA. DNA doesn't grow on trees.
No, it does not, Daddy.
It grows inside Joe.
Yeah.
So that's going to be its own episode.
That's going to be its own episode.
Okay.
But, and so
episodes adding up, everybody.
Right?
That's okay, though, because I love hanging out with my friend Bobby. I'm having a real good time doing this with you, Bobby. I mean, can we just take a second and really look at this? We are on episode 4, and it's been a jam-packed episode. It's been thrilling. I've been so excited.
Smuckers.
Smuckers, it's one of those things where I can't believe. I remember when you first told me, hey, you see this dead little girl's picture? And I said, can I take that home with me? He said, no. But you said, but do you want to do a podcast with me to investigate her unsolved murder? I said, I would love to do that, Bobby.
Yeah.
I would love to help you with that.
Yeah.
And here we are on episode 4. And I gotta say, I mean, there's been a lot of different pieces of evidence we talked about. We covered the Garrote, we covered the DNA, we covered the footprint from a boot, and we talked about how there's golf clubs in there, and also that Patsy, she keeps the presents in there, and that's where JonBenét's precious little boy was found, wrapped in a big blanket.
But that's not it, though.
What?
Not it. There's one more big piece of evidence from the basement.
Let me sit back down.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
I don't know why you were standing. He was making me uncomfortable.
I get the pace in, my butt gets a little sweaty.
It's fine. Okay, so for me, one of the biggest pieces of evidence that's very much glossed over a lot and not talked about, but it's evidence that
next to JonBenét's body.
Yeah.
Again, she was wrapped in her favorite blanket.
Oh my God, a big fluffy comforter looking blanket.
She was wrapped in a favorite blanket, but right next to her body also was her favorite pink Barbie nightgown.
Is that what that was?
Laid out next to her body.
Laid out next to JonBenét's body.
Right.
Was a nightgown.
Her nightgown.
That was a Barbie nightgown.
Mm-hmm. And she wasn't wearing it. And if you read any of the testimonies of it, Patsy never put her in that.
Oh.
It's a very strange part of the case.
She was... Yeah.
So it makes it more personal. It makes this crime more personal. Somebody wrapped in her favorite blanket.
Yeah.
And then put her nightgown next to
Someone who in a letter didn't even write her name.
Yeah.
Made sure, or no matter whether they made sure they meant it or not, they killed her, or her body was found with her favorite blanket and her favorite pink little cute adorable blonde Barbie nightgown, not on her body, but next to the big blanket in this dark room. Oh my God, Bobby, when I think of love, when I think of America and family, even home improvement, I think of a house. I think of how every house starts with a foundation. There's a house. Before you have a house, you have the foundation, you have the basement, you have the things that are built up. You construct yourself through the job you work and the family you feed and you take care of, and the love that grows between you all, and then how that love then comes together in kitchens, and how we eat these meals together in dining rooms on Thanksgivings and Christmases, America's holidays. How we live, laugh, loves in the living rooms together as a family.
Are you going to do all 4 floors?
I'm going to do 4. Just follow me. And then we have we have our bedrooms, the rooms that are made just purely for our comfort that where we are able to dream in new ways, in bigger ways, dreaming together. And there are windows in these bedrooms that shine the moonlight into our dreams, and also greet us with the greatest American promise of a morning sunrise, of a new day where all that the light touches is ours, just like Jonathan Taylor Thomas was told in The Lion Kings. And here we have this magnificent, gargantuan labyrinth of a house that is 4 stories, Bobby, in a beautiful neighborhood. This house is worth millions of dollars, probably. And there's so many windows. There's so many doors. There's so many Christmas trees. There's so many beautiful things that the Ramsey family filled. Almost too much stuff. And yet, out of all the rooms in this house, out of all the places that we talked about, out of all the places of even what it means to be a person or means to be America, JonBenét, our precious little angel, a little girl destined to be the next Christina Aguilera's, a Billy Elliott's, a Thora Birch at American Beauties. She could have been shining on the silver screen with Barbie in Greta Gerwig's Barbie's movie. Her body, her last moments of life were in the deepest, darkest, impenetrable, coldest, and loneliest places that they could ever be. Might as well be in the bottom of the ocean. Here she was, a dead little girl on Christmas night in a room with no view.
Wait, that was it.
Oh my God!
Room Without a View.
Room Without a View! Season 5, Episode 8, Home Improvement Week. Room Without a View! Oh, that was it.
If you want to listen to next week's episode early, check out our Patreon.
Yeah, just go to our Patreon. It's really easy. It's spelled PATREON.
REON.com/JonBenét today. TODET.
TODET.
Yeah.
Spell it right. And you can go there. You can find all kinds of cool little things that Bobby's put on you, and
bonus content. And episodes a week early, so you just go to that patreon.com/JonBenét today. Support us, get episodes a week early, bonus content.
Why would you not go ahead and do that? I don't understand.
You want to find out what's going to happen next week,
If I could do that, I would do that, but I'm the one making it.
Yeah.
So
check us out.
Yeah, check us out.